What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and we started talking about the Red Sox making some interesting trades this offseason. One of the main reasons for that is because the free agent market this offseason is fairly decent, but I don't think there's enough depth there to make enough moves strictly off of free agents alone to really improve this Red Sox team, meaning that some of those moves are going to have to come off of trades. So that's why we're putting a lot of focus into trades this offseason. And one of the questions that is always asked on my channel when we're talking about any type of Red Sox trade is who is a guy on this Red Sox team currently that could be a dark horse when it comes to trades, a guy who you really don't expect to be traded, and a guy who has kind of solidified himself a spot on this Red Sox team. But if the price is right and the Red Sox really want to get a guy here to Boston and he seems to be the tipping point, who is that guy who could be shipped out that you would not expect? So that is what we're talking about today, because today we are talking about the guy on this Red Sox team that I personally think could be the dark horse to be traded this off season. But before I get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So to get right into it, let me tell you guys the guy who I think could be the dark horse to be moved this offseason. The guy I think that could be moved this offseason is Alex Verdugo. Now let me tell you why. First of all, this dark horse would really depend on moves made before this trade. If the Red Sox retain Tommy Pham, if the Red Sox decide to re-sign Rob Refsnyder, and if the Boston Red Sox go out and they get a DH type player, guy who is mainly built to play DH, but does have that versatility to be able to play the outfield, you create sort of a log jam in that outfield for the 2023 Boston Red Sox. Now, taking a look at those guys, Tommy Pham could definitely be on the chopping block, especially if he opts in. The Red Sox don't really want him here, but they end up stuck with his contract. It could definitely be a guy on the chopping block, but his value isn't going to be insane on the trade market, and that's mostly because you know exactly what you're going to get from Tommy Pham. That is league average to slightly below league average hitting and slightly below league average defense, right? There's no real potential there with Tommy Pham. He is what he is. On top of that too, yes, his contract isn't super expensive, so that might be a little bit enticing for other teams, but he's also not under team control, so that might turn teams off a little bit. They might also look at moving Kike Hernandez, who definitely does have a little bit more value, in my opinion, and not even a little bit. He definitely does have more value in terms of his play than Tommy Pham, at least in my opinion. I think most Red Sox fans' opinion is that Kike Hernandez has a higher ceiling than Tommy Pham. But Kike Hernandez is kind of a rental deal for a team, right? He's only on a one-year deal. So if Kike Hernandez were to be moved, in my opinion, it would either be for a team who really wants to make a push this year or a team who really wants Kike Hernandez to use to build around in the future, and they extend him right after they sign him. On top of that too, it doesn't seem like the Red Sox would trade away a guy like Kike Hernandez, who they made such an effort to extend before the season ended. That just wouldn't make sense to me. But again, we've seen crazy moves from this Red Sox team in the past, so it's not fully off the table. And if the Red Sox decide to re-sign Rob Refsnyder, it's kind of the same situation it is with Kike. If you're going to go through that trouble and get him re-signed, why immediately flip him, right? He's definitely a usable player on this team, so that wouldn't make a ton of sense to me either. And that kind of leaves just Alex Verdugo. There are a couple reasons why I think Alex Verdugo would actually be a pretty valuable trade chip for the Boston Red Sox. The first is that I think Alex Verdugo still has some potential. Now, there are a bunch of people out there who are saying that the Verdugo we are seeing now is the Verdugo you are going to get. That's his ceiling. He can't get any better than that. In 2022, he was a little bit hot, a little bit cold, kind of in the middle. He ended up finishing the year with a 280 average, a 732 OPS, and a 102 OPS plus. Now, he didn't light the world on fire or anything, but you got to remember he got off to one of the game's slowest starts, and not because of anything on his own. A lot of the stuff that had to do with him just simply getting unlucky. There was a point in the beginning of the year where Alex Verdugo led the league in expected batting average, but had one of the lowest averages on the Boston Red Sox. So a lot of his averages and stuff like that, his season totals, are kind of skewed a little bit because of his simple unluckiness. Now, I know that's kind of an excuse, but at the same time too, there is potential for Alex Verdugo to take things up a notch, in my opinion. If you watched every single one of these games, you saw that he was playing above his statistics, and that's not a normal thing for MLB players. The second thing that makes him a little bit more valuable than the other guys we've talked about in this video scenario is the fact that he's only 26 years old. Now, Alex Verdugo may seem older than that, and in terms of baseball years, that's not exactly the youngest chicken in the coop, but at the same time too, that still gives you a little bit of wiggle room to sort of figure yourself out and even take your game up a notch before you kind of hit that sort of plateau, right? Usually the plateau is from 27 to 30, somewhere around there of where you're kind of at your peak before you start to come down towards the end of your career. So you do have a little bit of wiggle room there with Alex Verdugo. And on top of all of that, Alex Verdugo is not a free agent until 2025. Right now, the Boston Red Sox have him under arbitration, aka team control, for another 3 years. Now, if you're talking in terms of the value of a player, those are things that you look for from a team who is going to be looking to get someone from the Red Sox who could serve as a long-term solution, right? You've got the potential there with Alex Verdugo, the ability to turn things up a notch. You've got that control, that team control, so you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money on a free agent to sort of shore up your outfield. So when you're looking in terms of which outfielder has the most value for the Boston Red Sox in terms of trades, Alex Verdugo is at the top of that list. The only problem, in my opinion, with Alex Verdugo being traded is the question of whether or not the Boston Red Sox really want to part ways with Alex Verdugo. Well, we know for a fact there is someone on this Red Sox team who loves Alex Verdugo, not only the players, but the manager as well. Alex Cora loves Alex Verdugo. In fact, after the 2022 season ended, during a postseason conference, Alex Cora was asked, who's a player on this team that you expected more from this year, who you expected to do better, but just didn't hit the mark that you wanted him to hit? And his answer was Alex Verdugo. Now, that may seem a little bit harsh, and that may seem like this year was a total disappointment for Alex Verdugo, but I think what Alex Cora was saying, and I think what the team thinks as well, is that Alex Verdugo can take it up a notch. And that may be more important than just saying, yeah, there's another level he can go to. It's that they believe that he can actually get there. But at the same time too, everyone has a price, right? We've seen it in the past. I don't think anyone really had the Red Sox trading Hunter Renfroe this offseason. They did. Did it work out? No, but they still did it. I don't think at the deadline, out of all of the guys who were on the chopping block, that anyone thought that at the top of that list was Christian Vasquez, yet he was the first one to go. So we've seen it in the past of guys who we really don't think are going to be traded from this Red Sox team get traded when the price is right, especially with the way that this current Red Sox front office staff is conducting their business. I think everyone on this team who is under control really does have a price on this team. In fact, I think there are only a couple of people who are completely off limits. One of them being Rafael Devers, mostly because they've already said this offseason that they are not trading Rafael Devers, and that's sort of shooting yourself in the foot if you were contemplating it. I don't think Garrett Whitlock's going to be there because I think that they truly do think that there is a ton of potential there with Whitlock, like we all do. I don't think Bayo's on that chopping block, and I don't think Tristan Casas is on that chopping block. But other than that, anyone is kind of not fair game. Fair game's the wrong word, but up for trade if the price is right. But if we are looking at everything in total and we're looking at the guy who could be that dark horse to be traded, and if the stars align perfectly, in my opinion, it is Alex Verdugo. Now, I just want to reiterate, it's not that I think Alex Verdugo is going to get traded. I don't think that he's at the top of the chopping block. I don't think that if they are making a list of guys they want to trade in terms of getting another player in here, that Alex Verdugo is on the top of that list. But if you had to choose someone who really wasn't expected to leave this Red Sox team this offseason, the Hunter Renfroe effect, if you will, in my opinion, it is Alex Verdugo. But it's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, which Red Sox player do you see as the dark horse to be on the chopping block this offseason? Is it someone that I mentioned in the untouchables? Is it someone that you haven't even thought of, that when you're watching this video you went, no idiot, it's this guy, just popped into your mind? Or is it Alex Verdugo? Do you agree with me? Let me know all your thoughts on this situation down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said at the beginning, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end of this video, you might as well hit that subscribe button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. It helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seat.